You have to set your
It's
mind.
going well.
It will go well.
Everything is gonna be well. We are live with Pan African Daily and Professor Bayina Bello, who keeps actually motivating and saying it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be well. Just don't worry. Everything is gonna be fine. So if you are watching us, please make sure you join us on this conversation. I know we are late, and it's because of me. Yeah, trying to reset internet and stuff, the connection.
You
Live
are
now.
watching the
Okay,
Pan
good.
African Daily
So join
TV with
us.
Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
Okay, good people. We are live. We are live on the Pan African Daily with Professor Bayina, the Queen of Ayiti. Ayiti. And our topic is going to be Africans, you have to do it by yourself. Nobody is going to do it for us. And we know we've been shaken in the last days or in the past couple of months, and Africans are kind of like confused. And me, particularly, of course, I cannot lie to you. I don't know where Professor Baina takes her courage. I was almost like, no, this time it cannot work. I don't know how we're going to do this. But Prof just called me and chilled down and say, calm down, just stop it, calm down. And even when Professor James was on yesterday, it was the same motivation that she kept saying, just be calm. You can do this. You have to team up, you have to stay focused, you have to trust the process, you have to know who you are. We will get there. So I'm so happy that Professor Baina is here with us, and she's actually going to upgrade our doubt, our fears. She's going to inspire us and tell us the reason why we actually must stay calm. And the next point is the fact that we can do it by ourselves because nobody is going to help us to do it. And I think if China is successful today, is because they do it by themselves. If the Europeans or the Eurasians are successful in whatever thing they do to us, it's because they do it by themselves. Okay, so if Russia can do it, so they do it by themselves. We don't know any other person that they come begging for help, or Russians calling African presidents, or even asking for their opinion. And we see China, they just come in, they negotiate deals, they go out. They don't need you, they don't need any assistance. And that's why Prof is saying, why do you think that you need other people? It's only you that can do it because every other nations work in their own personal interests. So if Africa, you want to move ahead, you want to take it to the next level, you have to do it by yourself. So good evening, Prof. I just introduced and I want to step back also and enjoy the lectures with you tonight. Thank you so much for your patience. You've been waiting here for more than half an hour. I'm truly, truly sorry. If I didn't have to do some tweaking, we will not even be live today. So, yes, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. And
That's,
over to you,
that's
Prof.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings to the family. Jumbo, Lone, Alafia, Hotep. We are a rich people. We have created thousands of languages around this planet. We are a most capable people. So we must never, never allow people to make us doubt about ourselves. And that's what they have been feeding on for all the centuries that they have been dominating us. When you panic, you can't think. When you panic, you can't plan. When you panic, you do not know how to protect yourself. So, whatever is going on, the very first thing, Take a deep breath, and let's do that right now. Take one deep breath. We take it counting. As you take, you pull the breath in, you count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you let it out slowly for 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. When you do this, you allow your mind to be in the right, everything in the mind to be in the right place. Your heart to be in the right place. Your circulation to be at the right rhythm. If everything in your body is not going on as it should, how could you have the correct thought for whatever you're facing? So let us do one deep breath together. Back straight, shoulders balanced, and we go. Whatever happened, you have a car accident, somebody is attacking you, take a deep breath. That's how you keep your body aligned. Every time someone can create panic in you, they are making you capable of taking the right decisions, or even seeing the right decision. So breathing is not just to keep you alive. Breathing is your first medicine. When anything goes wrong, feel like getting angry, you feel like smashing and breaking, stop. Take 7 deep breaths. Take 21 deep breaths. Get yourself online again. Then we can think. Then we can talk. Not before. All right. I came with a song that I would like to try to play for you. And if it works out, then as the singer sings, I believe we even have the translations might already be written. Let's see. Okay, here is the song. Let's see if we can. All right, we can see this. And let's see if we can play. If it plays. No, it won't play like that. I would have to, let me try it different. Present, video file.
Do you want me to add it from here?
Yes, if you can, that would be great.
Depuis m'sorti l'en Guinée, moun y a personne de moi.
Okay, it's loading.
C'est moi-même.
I can hear it. I did not do share.
Depuis m'sorti l'en Guinée, moun y a personne de moi. C'est moi-même. Au gros chaud.
Can you see it?
M'sorti en bas de l'eau, moi volé dans la
Yes, we listen to singing.
Kouyo kwa yo prend moi, tourner la fumée oh, je connais ça me servi, la terre va trembler. Je connais non vent et moi, l'oreille va gronder, c'est moi-même, au racino.
Merci, Josué et Rod. This is a great.
You want me to play it over again? Because I think it started when you didn't hear.
Okay.
All right.
Sorti l'en Guinée, moun y a personne de moi, c'est moi-même, Ossino. Depuis m'sorti l'en Guinée, moun y a personne de moi, c'est moi-même, au gros chaud. M'sorti en bas de l'eau, moi volé dans la zère. Kouyo kwa yo prend moi, tourner la fumée oh, je connais ça me servi, la terre va trembler. Je connais non vrai moi. L'oreille va gronder, c'est moi-même, au racino.
All right. Now, yesterday, Professor Small spoke to us about identity, which is why I brought this song for us today. This is a song that tells us who we are. Ever since I've come on this earth, they have been testing me. They have been attacking me. They have been trying to destroy me. But I am the root of life on earth. I am who I am. When I go underwater, they come after me still. Then I fly up in the air and they try to catch me and I turn into smoke. Because I am the root of life. They cannot overcome me. That's what the song is talking about. This is our identity. Only when we panic can others overcome us. But when we remember who we are, the clouds, that's us. The earth is us. The water is us. The fire is us. The air is us. So how can we allow anyone to make us panic? No. There is no need for that. Only when we forget who we are. Only when looking at a minute little bit of ourselves. If I'm thinking, well, I'm in Ayiti, this. No. I have existed millions of years, millions of millenniums. And they have always tried to destroy me. They've always had a plan to eliminate me. What do you think slavery was? Chattel slavery was an elimination plan. They were going to use your strength as much as they can. And then as in Haiti, they reported that a person could barely survive in the the slavery system of Saint-Domingue, not Haiti, excuse me. In Saint-Domingue, in Hispaniola, the various names they gave to the island as the various colonizers occupied the territory. In those systems, an average person could barely live 10 years. That means they kidnap you at 20, they bring you to a system that eats up your life. By the time you're 30, you're dead. You have 2 children, you'll never see them as adults. That's what we were into. And I'm here to talk to you. My great-great-great-grandparents went through this. And in that system, I have identified people that have survived 100 years. Why do you think they did? Because of who we are. And because they strive to teach us who we are so we could survive whatever comes in front of us. So this business of booing, getting all upset, every little nonsense, please, no. Our brethren in South Africa remember apartheid. It's day before yesterday. We saw what they could do to people in that system. And we saw how for a long time our people thought this would be there forever. There is no other way. Where are they? Now they are forced to go undercover. Now they are forced to participate in elections and lose. And now they are forced to come and buy some of our would-be leaders in order to survive. They are trying to survive. They are not running the show like they used to. When a white man was walking down the street in Johannesburg, Black people had to do this. Hide so you don't get kicked, you don't get shot, you don't get. Now That cannot be because we changed our mindset and we're starting to become ourselves. We have learned to breathe deeply. You know, if you develop your ability to control your breath, even somebody trying to kill you, if you're fighting back and getting over, they will put more force and they will kill you. But if you were smart, you know what? If somebody, let's say, is trying to, with um, a pillow, trying to snuff life out of you, and as soon as you see that they're doing this, you stop your breath and make a very, very, very slow breath. Then that person think you're dead, and they go away. You save your life because you have control over yourself. You cannot pretend anything if you have no control. If people know how to get you upset, if people know how to make you scream and yell and blah, 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 one word, and you just, they will use it against you. We must have total self control. That's the number one weapon. And the one medicine, breathing. Control your breath. Number one. So that's part of our identity. Knowing that I am everything, the cloud, the smoke, the water, the earth, all of it is me. When I say I'm not looking at one little finger, I'm looking at the universe. Now, if we get back to this mindset, then when we're looking at political situations, we say, okay, this is what. When was the first election? 1980 something? We're 2000. We're like, what, 40 years, 30 years of experience? We don't know how to make elections yet. We don't make the rules. We don't create the systems. We don't create the programs. So, yeah, we're participating in it to sort of see how it works. It's like trying on shoes at the shoe store. You may have to try on 20 pairs before you get the right pair for yourself. So, we can't get upset. This is the very first time a thinking African person is participating in this election. Normally, somebody who speaks
Yes.
like Julius Malema wouldn't even be allowed to have a party, much less participate in elections in the apartheid land. We have to look at things correctly. So it's a huge steps our brothers and sisters in South Africa have made. For a Julius Malema to be part of elections, whoa. In most of our countries, he can't. In most of our countries, he would already be dead. So we have to look at the reality of the situation. Okay, so this is round one. We went into elections with words that mean something to us. That's a victory. All right, what was the percentage that the EFF did? Even that is very impressive.
9%.
It's
Mm-hmm.
impressive. What?
Mm-hmm.
With this kind of language? 9 something percent? That's great. That's step one. No big deal. Nothing to be upset about. Step one. Okay, now we've learned. But more important, we want to prepare for the next campaign. If we're booing about the last campaign, we will waste time and energy, and we will not be doing what we need to do for the next campaign. course, first we have to study everything that went down in this campaign. The cheating, whether electronic or otherwise, all of everything that went down. We have to study it all. We have to study everything. And then we're going to figure out, here are the things we don't want to happen in the next election. The program. We all know electronic stuff. If I program the thing, Sister Tatah and I are going to be running in the election next week. And guess what? Bayyinah is doing all the program for the, everything we're going to be using during the elections. She is establishing the algorithmic measurements. Don't ask me what it means, but I know that's how the thing works. So I can set it up. I can set it up so every time one person votes for me, the machine counts it as 3 votes. And every time one person votes for her, she needs 2 more for her to get 1 vote. I can set it up that way. How do you think those various companies play with us? You have 1 million people coming into your program, but they can set it up in such a way that it doesn't show 1 million. Whereas this other person.
Oh, yes. Like, yes.
So,
and if you pay, Professor, if you pay, and they're going to show you all, everybody that is watching you right now. But because you are organic, no, they even have to block some people so that they don't see their visuals. You're very correct. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
The same thing is used as the same method that is used in election campaign programming. Why is it only they program? Election in Haiti, who does the programming? Not Haitians. Election in Trinidad, who does the programming? Not Trinidadians. Election in South America, South Africa, who does the programming? Not us. Why do you think? So we have to take all of this into consideration. But the most important thing is know who you are. When you know who you are, you don't allow little nonsense to shake you off. No. You know, okay, I'm going to study it up, and then I'm going to figure it out. In these United States, Blacks were not allowed to play basketball. We're not allowed to play baseball. We're not allowed to play tennis. Black people could not play into any kind of sports. All the so-called royal sports that demand thinking, we didn't have the ability to play tennis. Okay, for a long time, the rule was you can't play. And then one day a little window opened up and one of us snuck into that window and wept everybody. And then they couldn't keep us out of that particular sport anymore. And then another one is going to do it here, and another one is going to do it there. And today, what do you see? When you're looking at any soccer team, any football team, any basketball, who are the queens in tennis? Come on. But once upon a time, all you could do is go pick up the ball for them. So, reaching the stage of Serena Williams and her sister, it took a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of plotting. I am sure somewhere the Williams sisters or anybody who is being trained by their parents, their father or mother, thought this man is a wicked man because he demanded so much of them. So much discipline, yes. So much effort, so much training, so much. Every field is the same way. If you're serious about getting into elections, then you need to study not only the laws, the methodologies, the programs, the philosophies involved. You have to also know all the underhanding stuff that's being done. In the last election, Mr. Johnson bought Sister Tata. In this election, I have several choices. One of them is to have enough money to buy Sister Tata. Oh, yes. If I'm serious, everything that goes down, you must know. And every time you have a choice. It's not a question of, no, I'm a such and such type of person. I don't, You in this field, here's what happens here. If I don't buy her, somebody else is. So, right now, even just to put her out the race, I need to buy her. Shocking? Well, then you're not ready for politics. Go sit and do something, teach in a school or whatever. But if you're looking at politics and you think this is a nice little thing, there are rules, you just have to obey them, blah, 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 wake up. Go do something else. Go do gardening. Go do sewing. So when you enter whatever field you
go do sewing,
you must study that field from A to Z 10 times, 21 times. And then you must make the right choices for yourself. What do you want to do? No one is going to help you. You see how this society is set up? This is a wicked society based on wicked laws. And even the wicked laws are not respected. As we look at, next time we must do a special program on the imperialism charter. So you can see how these Euro Christian beasts sat down and decided how they were going to run the world, and that words like democracy is just a joke. So if you don't know the mindset of your enemy, there is no way you can win against that. Every time you take a tiger or whatever animal for what it's not, if you take a tiger for a cat, you're in trouble. The only way to have a decent exchange with a tiger is for you to know what tigers are, who they are, what they are, how they function. That's knowledge is the biggest weapon. And every time we fail to know, what? We shouldn't be surprised that we don't win. Because winning is not about following the law. Winning is about knowing what's going down and making the right choices. So yesterday, Professor Small spoke a lot about identity, which is very important. It's all about you have to know who you are. I know who I am, and I know what's across from me. Across from me is a tiger. Tigers don't like people. So I don't have a weapon. How am I going to deal with a tiger? Tigers don't care about dead meat. So I'm not going to run. If I run, he knows I'm alive meat. I need to lay down there and pretend not to be alive. That's when I start praying, while I'm pretending, but not while I'm running. I cannot run as fast as a tiger. I do not have the weight in front of a tiger. Hey, uh-uh. But if you don't know, if you're wearing red and there's a bull coming, you're the number one target for the bull because that's the only color the bull sees. Every single life form has its own rules and regulations. Every life form has its own rules and regulations. So when dealing with a particular life form, you must know how it functions. But the number one knowledge is who are you and how do you function? Let's say there is one word that gets Bayyinah Bello angry or out of herself, totally mad. Bayyinah does not know that about herself. But Sister Tatah has noticed every time somebody says this, why Bayyinah goes berserk. Anytime Sister Tatah wants to attack Bayyinah, she will use that word. And Bayyinah will get all angry and mad. And then she'll say to her audience, see, no, I didn't say anything. I don't understand why the sister is so upset. They play these games against us all the time. We must change that by having tremendous, profound knowledge of self. Years ago, in the 60s, a lot of our countries were just becoming so-called independent. We have to put that word in parentheses every time we use it. We were so-called given those independences. And I was involved in some of the people working in government in various countries. And then we soon learned that if right now we name Sister Tatah president, then France or England or one of these countries, will within 24 hours, she will have an invite from one of these countries. And they will have big arguments among themselves as to who should be the first one to get Tatah. Let's say France got her. When she goes to France, even though she is married, she will also be instructed not to come with her husband. Or if the husband is coming, he cannot stay at the same hotel as her. They have all these games all set out. So why? Because they have a plan for her. They need to get her involved in situations that they're going to use in order to force her hand as the president to take decisions that are not in the interest of all. All of them have a program. For your presidents, your ministers of finance, ministers of education, it doesn't matter who you are. Anytime. If you have any friends who are ministers, the minute they become ministers, ask them 24 hours later, who is the first one to invite you to someplace? Let's do a little logic. We just became the members of government in our country. We were not part of any kind of governmental structure before. What would be the first intelligent thing we need to do? Each one of us needs to study the area that we're becoming responsible for. Sister Tatah has to deal with medicine. I have to deal with education. This one has to deal with the finance. That one has to learn how we're going to set up. So if you just got in, you have not even set up anything to run the country. And some foreigner is saying you must come to a conference in my country. You must come and sign agreements with my country. Where is your interest there? Where is the interest of the people? anytime I speak with any of our people who ask me my opinion because they become ministers of state, I always say, first thing, don't go anywhere for 90 days. Study the ministry that you're becoming responsible. And I would even say, I know for myself, I said the day I would accept anything, 90 days of silence. I have nothing to say. How can I speak for an area that I was not in charge of yesterday? How come I have all these opinions? Where did I take them from? We must learn. When you first become in charge of anything, take the time, take the silence, speak to your ancestors, go look at what had happened before, define what you want, what your goal, how you see it, and most important, identify something. If somebody else had been in that post before you, identify something this person started and didn't get a chance to finish. Make that your number one accomplishment. Finish what the other one started. For unity, for solidarity, finish. And when you are inaugurating it, don't say, yeah, I'm inaugurating this bridge. No, say, Sister Tata conceived this bridge. And Sister Tata had it almost 80% done. I just happened to be here while it's being finished. So we want Sister Tata to be part of the inauguration. Once you've done that, finish something that somebody else started, then you will see how much blessings you will get to get your stuff done. We must not look at government the way they look at it. We must never be in government and not know what is Ubuntu, what's the philosophy, what's the methodology, how does it work in practicality in what I'm doing now. If I don't understand that, I can't understand very much. If I don't have any knowledge of Sankofa, always turn back. Turn back and go get. Turn back. Sankofa. And it's in everything you do. After you write a text, no matter how great a writer you may, don't you have to Sankofa? I mean, look back on the text, read it again, read it a third time, a fourth time. All of that is the practice of Sankofa. Go back over what you did. Pick up the mistakes. Remove that which is not correct. So it's the same. Our ancestors lived and have left treasures for us throughout their lives. If we start feeling, I'm so great, I'm so much greater, bigger than my ancestors. Well, okay, fine. You want to say that, you want to see it that way, I'm not going to argue with you. But I know the greater you can be is to look back and say, you know what? My father did blah, 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 blah. And if I can do that today, it is thanks to my father. My mama did this, this, and that. Thanks to her, I can do that. Now you have not only your own force, but you're sitting your force on their forces. And that's what's helping you to rise, and you're conscious of it. We cannot live like those colonization, real colonization, all capitalism and everything else. We must think our way, claim our own way. We must reclaim our way in economics, in education. in government. I read once that Mansas, generally, from Mali, quite a few of them had a practice of take their horse and drive hours and hours away from the capital. And when people wanted to say, but why? We can't do this, blah, blah, blah. You can't do that as a Mansas. I said, no, no, no. So yeah, I have ministers. Ministers speak of what is in their interest. But when I want to know how the people feel about something, I gotta drive away from the capital and mingle with people without them recognizing me as the Mansa. So I get their true opinion about what's going on. There is so much. History is not for us to be cited and show off. I know. No. We don't care about what you know. But what you know is supposed to change what you do. What you know is supposed to change how you do it. What you know is supposed to improve your relationship to family, friends, neighbors, adversaries, and enemies. We have to be clear on who each group that we meet, where we stand, who they are. See, the who they are comes back all the time. Whether you're dealing with the animal, you have to know who they are. Mosquitoes. Many of us have an our condition to hate mosquitoes. Somebody's always inventing some other way more powerful to destroy mosquitoes. Be careful. Have you studied them? Do you know their purpose in life? Do you know what they do that is useful to you? If you don't know that yet, don't be destroying them. But we can always use lemongrass, for example. I love to sit in my yard. And in my yard, there are plenty of mosquitoes who love to sit with me. But what I do is I plant a lot of lemongrass around the yard, around the spaces where I sit. Mosquitoes do not enjoy lemongrass smell. I love the smell of lemongrass. So I have the lemongrass and the mosquitoes stay away from me. Not very complicated. We just have to think. And the reason I can think that way, because I realize I am everything. I am mosquitoes too. And there are moments I have to sting whoever is bothering my people just like a mosquito. But if I hate them, gotta kill them. Please, it's important for us to know who we are. As Professor Small said yesterday, start with knowing your mom and dad. Go on and get to know the grandparents, 4 of them. Continue and get to know the great-grandparents, 8 of them. Continue and get to know the great-great-grandparents, 16 of them. So you see, life has a structure. Every time I say I, in fact, I'm lying, because there is no I. Because if Bayyinah is here, it's because mom and dad got together and produced her. So they're always there too. And if mom and dad are there, it's because those 4 grandparents got together and the 16 great grands, and the 24, the 32. So you see, and life has a whole structure as to how it builds the person. So every time you're thinking, I, very limited. Anytime somebody says something about law, immediately I think, A, my father was a lawyer. B, my mother's father was a lawyer. So if anything having to do with law, I call on these two. I don't understand the mumbo jumbo of legal papers. I really have no affinity with it. But by the time I call on them a few times, I can go back and take that letter and figure out what they're trying to tell. When my finances are in bad shape, I call on Louis Auguste, my father's father, who left school at 16, demanded, fought with the priest until they returned because his father had paid the whole year, until they gave him back the 10 months that he wasn't going to stay. And he took that money, bought things that he felt people in our village needed, and went to sell. And by the time I came around, my grandfather owned so many houses and land and this and that. So when I get broke, I said, Bayyinah, you have a problem. You're not Louis Auguste's child. If you can't pay this $100 bill, you got a problem, child. Talk to your grandpa. And you know, I always solved the problem after dealing with Louis Auguste. Or I would call on a national level, I would call King Henry, who brought great prosperity to Haiti. Or if I want to go to a continental level, I call on Mansa Musa, who knew how to make money. So if we don't know who we are, how do we know who to call for help?
Mm-hmm.
When you're calling on somebody who don't look like you, don't care for you, it's part of a structure that has been destroying you all your life. And then things don't work out and you're surprised? Come on. Don't do that to yourself. Know yourself. Know. As Professor Tina said. Do you know your mom? Even if you're living with her, do you know her? Do you know what she stands for? Do you know her opinion on this or that? Oh, she passed? So what? She has sisters, aunts, cousins. You can find out. Everything you find out about your mother will make you stronger.
Yes.
My sister and I my sister Kim, we sometimes say to each other, if we're getting in each other's nerve, I said, listen, if you continue, I'm going to Christine Madroy you. That's my mother's name. My mother don't mess with nobody. So when somebody threatened that she's going to act as Christine on you, oh boy, you're going to calm down. You're going to stay quiet. Yes. So the family has everything you need to grow. But you must know. And there are things that we do. It takes another aunt, a cousin, somebody who knew so and so that you didn't get to know. You say, oh boy, this is our auntie so and so. How can you be acting like her? You've never met her. You didn't see her. That's the power of the DNA. So you imagine we have somebody as the president of our country. And when they ask him, what is your model as a president? And this person says, Charles de Gaulle or Sarkozy. Can you imagine how totally mindless, ignorant this person is. This black person having people who have done everything to destroy your as the knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is the only thing that will save us. And you know, I have no particular dislike of any of our governments. Yes, they're not doing anything for the people in general. But you know what? It's not their fault. They went to the church of the enemy. They went to the school of the enemy. And they are often placed in position by the enemy. When did they get a chance to even figure out there is something called know yourself? Not their fault. So we don't need to waste time attacking them. It's like sometimes people say, okay, she's a marionette. Bayina is a marionette. Yes, Bayina is a marionette. She only does what Tata tells her to do. So we're going to do a demonstration against Bayina. So you make a demonstration against me, and something like that, I feel absolutely Bayina is not my purpose anymore. She removes Bayina and she puts John. And you're still unhappy because Tata is still deciding which marionette she's going to cast. The day you become smart, you will leave Bayina alone and you go straight to Tata. Because until you remove the marionettist, you always have a marionette in front of you. It is useless for us to be attacking each other once you understand at the base our problem is a lack of knowledge of self. And this is a planned, programmed, organized, developed, guided lack of knowledge of self. So the person who does not know who they are, you know, they don't even, when you should tell this person, you know, you have a problem of not knowing who you are. Oh, I know why. I love to wear white stuff. I love necklaces. I wear this shoe. I wear that brand. So the person cannot, you can understand. So we must make every effort, each one of us, every day, to practice in our daily lives. Whatever we're doing, ask ourselves, is this in accord with the concept we want to? As you go throughout your life, daily, weekly, take the time and assess what you're doing and how you do. Have you been sanctifying enough? When I'm thinking of when there's a health problem, I always think back on Empress Felicity of Haiti, who was a fabulous natural healer. So, since I don't take all this chemical stuff, I stay as far as I can away from them. So I always look for a natural way of dealing with whatever. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was something called chikungunya or something in Haiti, some sickness. And when you have it, like one morning I woke up and I can't walk because my leg, my foot, I can't put it down without screaming. So I called someone I know who's very good. First I address the Empress. Then I called someone that I know who's into healing. She said, oh, he said, you probably have that chikungunya business. Send for some ripe pineapple. ripe papaya, very ripe. Take the papaya, full, wash it, boil some water. So the water is pure, boil the water, let it cool down. Then put the ripe papaya in it and mash it, wash it. Everything, skin, seeds, everything. Mash it into a paste. And then sit down and put your feet in it. Maybe an hour, 90 minutes. When I took my foot out of the thing, I walked away and forgot all about what my problem was. Ripe papaya, fabulous medicine for pain, no matter where the pain is at. Even if the pain was in my shoulder, I could put my feet in it and get rid of the pain. So Mother Nature has everything for you. And you and Mother Nature is like this. There's a Bombala saying that says, the difference between God and man, the distance between God and man is as much as the distance between the nail and the finger. You are everything. Your God lives in you. But if you don't think of it that way, if you don't see life that way, so knowledge itself is our one primary, primordial, fundamental problem. You don't have 1,000 problems. The minute you know yourself, then you're able to get every day. And the minute we have a certain percentage of people at the head of our countries who know themselves, or who are striving to know themselves, they will act in the interest of the people. They will not see themselves as being different from them. So knowledge of self is the problem. Every time we see a problem, if you analyze it in wisdom of knowledge of self, you will see the solution. And knowledge of self should be taught at every level, just like literacy. They should be taught everywhere in the marketplace, in the stores, in the military school, the primary, secondary, university, everywhere. In the drama of the world we live in, those who are domineering the peoples of the world do not know who they are. That's why they're so wicked. Once you're into an illusion, you are a chosen people. If God chooses a chosen people, then this God is unjust. And if you think you are a chosen people, then you can do all kinds of crimes to the others. But you're just a human being. 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 arms, nothing particular. So it's up to us, each one of us, to strive to get to some kind of training so you can know who you are. And the beautiful thing about it, if I have this degree of knowledge of self, then I have the same degree of knowledge of my entire environment. If I have this degree of knowledge of self, I will have the same degree of knowledge of economics, knowledge of philosophy, whatever it is. You have it within you. And with no knowledge of self, when I have $100 million for school, I will look at that $100 million and I'll say, well, I could get a house by the beach and then a personal apartment in London, even though I never go to London. But hey, listen, I should have something in London, don't you think? That's the way you spend money when you have no knowledge of self. When you have knowledge of self, you say, I have this money and it's for education. It's not even enough to educate the 40 million children that needs to be educated. How
Yes.
can I, what can I do so I can increase the education money? With knowledge of self, you are named director of a school that is all broken down, haven't been painted in 20 years. The benches are in bad shape. Then you look at this and you say, okay, in my salary as a director, I could take 5% of my salary, have the benches fixed, have the room painted so the children will feel more comfortable and learn much easier in that room. So, yeah, that's the difference. You know self, then you understand all of this is self. Being fair to the farmer, being fair to the minister of education, being fair to the neighbor next door, it's normal when you have a degree of knowledge of self. And aiming to know self better is a daily work. It's a daily activity. It's not, oh, I took the training with Professor Bello. Now I know myself. No. Professor Bello has given you the principles and the skills to build the knowledge of self. She doesn't make you know yourself. And Professor Bello is working at knowing herself each day better. As long as we are alive, life is an ever-changing movement. Flexibility and mobility, that's what's about life. So if we were the way we were last week, do you think this week we're the same? No. Professor Bello, who was teaching knowledge of self 30 years ago, her face didn't look like this face. It's the same woman, but the face, the body changes, the mind changes, the heart changes daily. Every 7 years, every cell in your body is changed. Everything. In fact, many diseases that we may be impacted by without doing anything, the body has a whole system to get rid of those things. So by the time 7 years come around, let's say you had allergy, you are allergic to apples. If you observe yourself do certain things, 7 years later, you can eat apples with no problem. Because all the cells that were involved in the allergy of apple, they're all dead. And the new cells don't have a problem with apples. So that shows you how you're changing all the time. So all the time you must be observing yourself and working at being better than you were before. So when you just, I don't like Tata. That woman, I have nothing to do with her. Okay, you can do that. But the Tata you got into a problem with 20 years ago, she does not even exist anymore. This Susan Tatah has gone through a whole world of experiences. She's quite different, but you're not giving yourself a chance to get to know her. Get to know her. You might be
So
surprised.
true. So true.
Be very surprised. So there is also I want to bring today a poem for you. The concept of freedom. We do not speak enough about it. We often don't have an idea what freedom is. And yet we say we aspire to freedom. But if you don't know what it is, how can you? And if you don't know what it is, how can you recognize it? And if you don't know what it is, how can you recognize when you're not living in freedom at all? And somebody is selling you slavery for freedom. That's done every day. The native of the so-called America, they used to say white men speak with forked tongue. See, everywhere these people go, they always have something for you to sign. Oh, agreement. Sign an agreement. I don't speak your language. I don't know how to read and write your language. I have no knowledge whatsoever of your language. And then you come with a piece of paper and you want me to sign. I don't know how to write your language. So you say, okay, make a cross. Okay, I make a cross. Tata makes a cross. Moulana makes a cross. Toussaint makes a cross. How do you then come back and say Bayyinah sign? How is my cross, her cross, his cross different? And we, as so-called intellectuals, we read these things and take them seriously. Oh yes, your ancestors signed. In what language? Show me the signature. We don't do these things. We don't question anything these chosen people say. And yet, these are real liars. There's the same people going about saying that blacks have no soul. These are the same people who, as anthropologists, they claim they had a test, how to test if you have a soul or not. They will take a black person, pull your heart out of your chest, and put you in a pool of water. When they come back 3 days later, if the body is rotting, then you have no soul. The only problem with this wonderful scientific experiment, if we want to know who has souls and who does not, I think at least we should take a white man, a black man, an Indian man, a Chinese man, Asian, and then do them exactly the same thing and put all four of them in the same pool of water so we could know who has a soul and who doesn't. But if you only take me, how is this scientific? We have to look at everything with a different kind of eye. When you're looking to know who you are, you don't swallow whatever people say. Knowledge of self. Let me see if I can get that poem for us. Oh, in this particular structure, I don't think I can get to. No, maybe next time. Or I'll send it to Sister Tatah. It's called Freedom. And that poem was written nearly 5,000 years ago by an Ethiopian philosopher, Amun Hotel. It's freedom, question mark. So it's inviting you to think about what is freedom. So So if you don't know what is freedom, you've never thought about it. How can you claim to want it? And how would you recognize when you have it and when you don't, if you don't really know what it is? Think about it. Even if we don't get to see the poem today, question it. Ask your heart, what is freedom? Ask your mind, what is freedom? And compare what the two say to you about freedom. Let's see if we can get.
Depuis m sorti lan Guinée, moun y apè sonde mwen, c'est moi-même Osino. Depuis m sorti lan Guinée, moun y apè sonde mwen, c'est moi-même au gros chaud. M sorti en bas de l'eau, moi volé dans la zère. Kouyo kwa yo pran mwen, tourne la fumée oh, yo connais ça me servi, la terre va trembler. Je connais non vent et moi, l'oreille va gronder, c'est moi-même, au racino.
Well, for some reason it's not coming. I find it, I click on it, it does not.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I don't see it. Ah, here it is. Okay. Let's see. Now I need to go back to over here. And this, my computer. Oh no, that won't work because it's in Word. No. Okay. Right. Anyway, so let me just read what I have since I can't put it on the screen. Freedom. Our first mistake was that we thought of freedom as a place rather than as a continuation of a struggle. Tyranny never sleeps. Our second mistake was that we thought of freedom as a goal rather than a launching pad from which to reach our goals. Without purpose, freedom hardly matters. Our third mistake was that we thought freedom made us free. That, however, is license, not freedom at all. Freedom is being shackled to identity, purpose, and direction, as well as being in constant pursuit. So that is what Amunhotep told us some 5,000 years ago. Where are we? Oops. Uh, mhm. Well, now I can't find you guys. Are we still on?
Professor, I'm here.
Okay. Except that I can see
You see me now.
you. And let's see.
What are you searching?
I'm searching for seeing you, seeing us, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
finding it. Uh, well, maybe I'm gonna turn this off and go back to the. Yeah, it's these things. Well, it's not responding to anything I'm doing. Except when I'm sending it off, I see us sliding. Uh,
Everybody hears you. Everybody sees you, Professor.
my goodness. I bet, well
Mm-hmm.
then. Okay, so we'll go like this. um, we have, so we read the poem, Freedom. And what do you think? What did you get from it, Professor Dr. Tata? What did it speak to you?
Well, I think I would act. I'll actually still have to. I was just researching it, the poem, but the one key word that everybody has about it is actually the famous word, freedom is shackled to our identity, which you have said it a couple of times. Professor
Mhm.
James has said it a couple of times. That's the biggest quote that we could pick up from what you know what the poet
Absolutely.
said.
Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
Yes. So, actually, me, I like the very style of the poem because the author doesn't come out saying, let me tell you what freedom is. But the title is Freedom, interrogation point. So he's right away telling us, think about it. Question yourself about it. It is something you this is something you need to know about. Okay? Then he tells us of three mistakes of or ways of interpreting freedom that are not so. Taking freedom when we think, oh, if I go someplace else, freedom is, it's not going somewhere. Because whatever you're facing here, you will find it even worse to face it wherever you get to. Then he says we might take freedom as an objective. It's not. It says, but to me, the most important is the second paragraph. Tyranny never sleeps. Three words. tyranny never sleeps. So if we don't understand that no matter where we go, what we do, there's going to be some type of tyrant there. So then you're not going to prepare for it. That's what happened to our people. No, no, I have to do everything to leave this country. The country is no good. The country is not good. So they do whatever and they get to some other country. And when they get there, no good is even bigger and stronger than the no good they left home. So freedom is not someplace else. And it's not given. You have to fight to get it. Again, no one will come for your rescue. Whatever you find yourself into, the answer, the solution is inside of you. Someone else might be able to help, might be able to encourage, but solving the problem is yours and yours alone. And it's true for everything, politically, personally, whichever way we have to go. We will find the same is true for us. Without trust in yourself, knowledge of self, you're not going to be able to get to what you want. And well, since I cannot for some reason see you, I perhaps we shall end it. And this is how I plan to close this evening. If there isn't an interaction between the two of us, then I will go.
Everybody sees you, Professor. Everybody
Yes,
can see you in the chat, and I keep pulling the messages that they say they see you, they hear you properly. And I
well, that's
think most of the times I'm kicked out, or you're kicked out, or it's freezing, or it comes, when you speak, and then I get it later, or something like that. I think everybody sees you, everybody has heard you, everybody has followed the lectures, and the things that I think everybody has picked up. Can you hear me, Professor? Can you see
yes,
me?
ma'am. I'm hearing you clearly. Yes.
Okay. Um,
Mhm.
the the key point for those that actually joined lately, from what I picked up, or what I can wrap it up or put it in the way I think those that came late could see, is that normally your lectures on knowledge of self was understood from the concept of me, from the concept of knowing who I am, my values, what I think about myself, what is the way forward, my passion, my journey, how I develop myself every day, like Cheryl is saying, to become a better version of myself. But what you picked up today that you actually, touch on was, it's not about I, it's about us. And so going back into the generations and try to question, to find out the version that I am representing, where did it come from? So it's not just about the physical, just me alone. This this vessel that you see here, or this whatever, this earth form that you see here, has a background history. And I actually really love that, because most of us, honestly, particularly those of us growing on the continent, we have never known our parents. We have never known, I mean, I'm talking about the immediate, talk less about, the mother of them, or the grandparents, and then the great grandparents. Knowing them, not just knowing my mother's parents or my grandparents were called this and this, but knowing what they actually were, what they represented. And I think that's the point that all of us that are living here tonight have to understand. It's not just I, it is the us. the Ubuntu-ness that you keep talking about or you keep teaching us every time. For me, that's what I actually have today, and I think every other person, as an extension of knowledge of self that doesn't start and end with me, but that has a narrative that has an origin millions of years back. And if we begin to pair the two to understand that me, I have a mother and a father. My mother has a mother and a father. Her mother has a mother and a father. My grandfather has a mother and a father. Her mother has a mother and a father. And you see that we'll come back to the web, and that's how we could understand the millions that they are representing us. So I think it's even not just only dwelling on the fact of understanding who we are dealing with, but the most important thing that I think we have all learned here today is who am I? Because if I understand who am I, it is easy for me to understand who I deal with. And so your another third point that I gathered here is the timing. 60 years, they tell us every year, 60 years of independence. Honestly, Professor, I mean, you're my biggest teacher, like any of us said. But one thing I always was thinking, oh, 60 years. I mean, we're 60 years into independence. But what you just taught us as an extension of that knowledge of self today is 60 years. Come on, give me a break. We're still having baby steps. We haven't
That's
even graduated. And then talk less of knowing what democracy or elections are, something that never was a part of us. So, like you're saying, hey, we're just still warming up. We don't even know what political freedom is. Talk less of we're still waving flags and still thinking we're different individual countries and that we're chopped up and that everybody representing. So I think summarizing the key points from what I think and what I think all of us have learned here today is that we are not just me, Professor Baina, my teacher, my mentor, my leader, somebody that I look up to, had a history of million ancestors, and this is just the final version of what I'm seeing now. Before going to to his own to her own children and children's children. So it's too deep. Like you see, even the comments in the chat that people were like, "Oh my God, this is that I never thought it this way. I never even looked at it this way." And then you taught us about the tricks in the systems. And I totally agree with that. Because every single day they keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. If that, like us, we are 103 subscribers. Of course, I do understand that most of your followers, most of whom you have lectured to, particularly me listening to all these lectures, I've learned a lot that I have evolved. And so we know a lot of our followers that actually have learned and they learn so fast and they pick up to evolve and to development and implement. So they don't find a need to actually follow Professor Baina on his knowledge of self. Um, the new babies that we're grooming here on Pan African Daily are just so excited. And, even though they're meeting us in the middle, we'll always advise them to go back to Pan African Daily TV videos. We do a playlist on Professor Baina's lectures. We do a playlist on Professor James' lectures. We do I mean, like our professors who are lecturers, not just conversation, not just political discourse, not just, opinionists, but we're talking about teaching the master classes. Like people would pay chunks of thousands of to learn just how to become rich. But you'll say, hey, come on, you can learn differently and you can actually impact this knowledge differently. So I think it's a whole lot that you have put here in just this 2 hours lectures. And you've lectured to almost 100 of us. And this lecture for me is the most important thing. So I don't know if I missed something that you can probably. Did I miss something like summary? Was I a good student, Professor?
I think you were very, very good. Very, very good. Yes. Um, it is important for us to understand. When something is fundamental, it never is limited to any one specific area. See, if something is true in mathematics, it cannot be false in philosophy or ethnology or any other discipline. If it's true, it's true. Okay. So whatever we learn, we have to understand if it is truth, then it can be applied everywhere. The family is the first government, whether we know it or not. It's the first government. It might be ruled by the mama or the grandma or the auntie, but there is a chief in every family. There's somebody that runs the show. And then there are the various other levels of responsibilities and tasks. So if in the family we're not taught freedom, we're not taught justice, we're not taught fairness, etc., etc. If the mother, for example, when she cooks, to the boys, it's a huge plate of food. To the girls, it's a small plate of food. She's already teaching injustice. She's already teaching uh, men are superior to women. She's already teaching a whole bunch of stuff that she does not think about. She's just thinking she's fixing the plates. But fixing the plates teaches all of us who are around that table what's going on. When you're cooking, you're taking whatever it is, rice and beans and this and that, and you're putting spices, and there's hot water, and the water has to boil, and then this have to go when it's cold, this has to go in when it's hot, and you're doing chemistry, math, you're using a whole bunch of scientific knowledge to prepare your food. So when someone say, "Oh no, that's nobody, that's just the woman who cooks for us," but also this scientist who's cooking our food is also our doctor, because the way she prepares could determine the various sickness we will suffer down the road. Too much sugar, too much oil, not enough this, too much that, all of it will impact on our health eventually. So we tend not to think, oh no, this is just food. No, there is no just food. Everything we put in the body will affect the body positively or not. Every thought we entertain will affect the body positively or not. That's why fear is a big weapon used by dominators, because the more they keep you afraid, unsettled, in not sure, unsure, then they will dominate you. But the minute you start to calm yourself down, the minute you learn to play a number of games, many games that we played during slavery, for example, somebody who's planning to escape from the plantation, he may look like the most docile slave. Before the wicked dominator could say, go get, he's already jumped. So the dominator, he's making him see him a certain way. So he knows this is the one he can always count on. Ha ha ha. Then 3 months down the road, this is the one you can't find in the yard. He has run away. He was making his plan, and he convinced you he was the best slave ever. So all of these are lessons for us. When we read our streets, we must never take anything superficial. Our ancestors never did anything for nothing. Everything we do has purpose. So that's why it's important for us to respect every life form. Your life might be saved by a bird, by a cat, by a dog. We don't know. That's one of the beauties in voodoo, because some of the songs, we have so many songs that praises plants, that praises animals. But then when you listen back to the song we played earlier, you will understand why. Because in our concept, there are no chosen people. And even people are not perceived as being superior life than animals or vegetables. So our concept of justice is this much wider. So, yes, that was an excellent summary. Thank you for the summary. Thank you for the attention, everyone. And I will leave you as I invite you to think of the song we played. I will leave you with these words. Whoever it is that's not making me see has they have a good reason. And that's fine with me since you tell me you hear, you see fine, then that's perfect. Here are my final words for today. Unstoppable. We are unstoppable. Pure life power functioning within a human body, fed with millenniums of memories, armed with universal knowledge, strategies, and know how, continually protected by our ancestors, aligned with our higher selves. As such, we are unstoppable. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Hear us because you're freezing. And thank you for the song. And I will have to play it once for the audience. I think we're still gonna do a question and answer. Sister Cheryl, please don't be annoyed that I didn't bring your question. I think we didn't want to switch the topic so we can actually conclude on the spiritual food that has actually nourished us. But I think Professor Baina um, would be here for questions and answers. And the interview from the president of Salvador or what would be played in that context. So thank you very much. Thank you, Professor. Thank you so very much. And we bless you today. And Prof, we see you next week again, right?
I'm
On
not
the
sure,
Mother
but
Mind show.
I will try.
Okay.
Take great care.
I will reach out. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Prof. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Bye. Good night.
Good
And we
night.
will just listen to the
Depi m
music
soti lan
again. Thank
Gine,
you.
moun yape sonde mwen, se mwen men
Okay.
osino.
I wanted to add us again to this song so we can
Depi m soti lan Gine, moun yape
listen
sonde
as you leave.
mwen, se mwen
Never.
men osino.
Oh, I hope it's gonna come up.
Depi m soti lan Gine,
Let me see.
moun yape sonde
Wait a minute.
mwen, se mwen men ogwo washo. M'soti an bas de l'eau, mwen vole dans la zè. Kou yo kwa yo pran mwen, m'toune la fime oh. Ou yo konen sa m'servi, la terre va trembler. Yo konen non van mwen, l'oreille va gronder, c'est moi-même, au racino.
Okay. All right. I think you can already see from the internet that it's not possible for us to actually wrap it up, but we have the message, and we thank Professor Baina very much again, and we see us yeah, at the earliest time possible too. Thank you, Mama. Thank you,
Thank
Prof.
you.
Yeah. So I don't know what is adding up, what's not adding up. And those of you that have connected, I think the masculine energy which comes through us, through other professors like Professor James Small, and we have the female energy. And so we always try, or what I'm trying to do in the past days, according to the vision that I have, is the balance of my art, the both female and the masculine energy, because we have seen, even when it comes in terms of, the energies that are operating on the continent is too masculine. We're not here about gender. We are not here about feminism or whatever. I don't even know such topics. But we're bringing the female energy and the masculine energy together so we can be able to be nourished. I mean, when Professor James talks to us, we feel the voice of the king, of the father that walks in. You could already feel that energy, of discipline, we get it. And when Professor Bain I don't know, but I'm, I'm thanking because you were still here. I thought we all had left, and I almost closed this studio, but I was just wrapping up. I hope you did actually enjoy the conversation. Like you said, it's Carrie is saying a spirit-filled message. Of course, that's what I also think it was. Um, Tomorrow we're going to have a guest. I cannot confirm yet because he has to confirm, and we would just be wrapping on this conversation. What I was saying is, in the past, for the past couple of weeks, we have the masculine energy that actually was, and all of us were caught up in this session of, with the elections and the outcome. But then the balance that we have here by the spirit of Ma'at just came in with the mother mind through Professor Bayyinah and waters our heart. And that's the equality which we deal on Pan African Daily TV. She touched a lot of deep insight from a perspective of, as how do I want to say, of nurturing, and you could feel, particularly the tone at Prof. I mean, every time I say Prof is my mentor, like she could talk to you about the importance of and so that balance that we usually would enjoy here on Pan African Daily is not just to be taken for granted. Okay, so the spirit of Ma'at is these two principles, the female and the masculine energy. And we also find out everything that we've been saying. We are in the moment of balance. And this balance has to do a lot with even the situations that we're currently undergoing, right? And yeah, we see until the continent of Africa actually would recognize and listen to the voice of the mother. For now, ever since enslavement and colonization, and even repositioning the masculine energy on the continent, we have seen that the balance has not been appropriate. And that's why when she said we have to study our mothers, we have to study our parents, of course, it is very important, I think. So I wish you a happy Sunday evening. And to those of you still celebrating the Father's Day, we wish you a happy time out there. Of course, this song was such a blessing. And we need people to come up with such songs, right? I mean, we know a lot of our conscious spiritualists that actually pass the message, not just for entertainment, not just absolutely for entertainment, but for teaching. So we're looking up to most of you that are inspired to put just a voice and a song, and we will play it during our intervals. I thank you, and we're going to see ourselves tomorrow. I still do a little thanks on 1212. Abiola. Abolia Faliti. Of course, we should. I still also do it. But we're actually even going to get into the meditation, into the steps ahead, and we will see how much we can still get from us. But like I said on the show in the beginning, most of us have graduated, and I'm so proud of that. Most of us that started on the Pan African Daily TV have graduated, and you can see people actually evolving and implementing everything that we learned here. Yes, songs of freedom, redemption songs. This is the moment, this is the moment. Even though we dance to hits like Afrobeats and stuff, we're still looking out for Pan African artists with a new spirit of Pan Africanism and ubuntu to start coming out with, songs of freedom, redemption songs of liberation, and songs of awareness, consciousness. You know, not only songs. We need books, we need playwright, we need theater, we need films, movies. So this whole new Africa is going to bring its own with it. So I thank you so much, my beloved. I'm barefoot and drumming 12-12. Oh my God. I think we will have to do that. Let me see if we can get a spiritualist or a drummer for tomorrow. Probably we're going to do some 12 dance steps. You know that. We need it. We need it so badly. Yes, we need to thank the energy that we started with, and we have to keep that energy going. So I really want to thank you. I do it all the time. I do it. I drink water and mind my African business, and and you can see how it's so refreshing. Reparations, you can bear me witness in Ghana. It's the same thing like here in Cameroon. So we are one. It's the same thing like in Brooklyn, where Cheryl is. Okay, and every other part where you're watching me from. I really want to thank you. You can go again and rewatch this conversation. It was so deep. That's why when Professor Baina is here, she's the mother mind of the continent, the mind of the mother, the way she waters, our soul, and in a very subtle way, like a mother that doesn't shout, but put some rules and remind us each time that we have to rise up to another level. Yes, this platform changed my life forever. And that's a hell. Oh, Cheryl, of course. Most of you came in today, and I could not shout out to you because we were really deep in studies, and you could already feel from the music and from her tone, and even from the topic that we didn't want to touch all those. We had to really pipe it down and listen to the voice of the mother. I also saw a comment from Lisa from UK who said we need a lot. We actually need a lot of lectures from our mothers, from our elders that are mothers, and that could teach us how we have to go back to our mother mind. And I think Baba Credo said a lot of it, that the world is actually ruled by the mind of the mothers. Doesn't mean so probably the minds of the mother and the hearts of the fathers. But on a very serious note, we have to know our parents. I will also share my experiences getting to know my mother from the time I became conscious. I saw her differently than the mother that I just knew was a mother that birthed me. Because like you can imagine in Africa when our mothers gave us birth and you just grow up to see your mother, you don't have time to even think that she used to be a teenager. You don't think she used to be a lady. You don't think she used to have a life. You just grow up to see your mother and you call her mother, and everything you want to take is the disciplines that we were, like rules and orders and obedience and stuff. But when we go back to the mother mind and the new energy, when you talk to your mother, you talk from the perspective of knowing her deep. Like I had a lot of conversations with my mother for the past 2 years. How was her life when she was growing up? How did they actually manage, stuff like teenage life? Who did they hang out with? Did they go out to dance? Who were her first date before she met my dad? It gave me another respect, another insight, and another passion and empathy for my mother being in a polygamous home as a second wife, how the community was ruled. So I think those are the kind of stuff that Professor is saying, get to know our ancestors and our parents, from the point that you can embrace their challenges. And that would make us really to respect them a lot. Because like I said, I see my mother now from totally another perspective, like just mother daughter relationship. We're so close together, like we cannot even, we used to be close together, but not just in this kind of rebirth, in this renaissance that I get to know her now. And like Professor said, even if she's passed on, you can still understand her if you seek to know her, if you seek to talk to her, to find her, just like your parents. So don't think because they're gone, you cannot ask those questions. You really can still speak to them if you want to know them more. They will teach you, even if they are gone, because we know we don't go, we just relocate. So I really would advise you, and I will share also my experiences, how I get to know my mother again. And it's like a new beginning. I see her more of a girl. When I talk to her, look at how she was, so beautiful. And I didn't see, her wrinkles. I like the new spirit in me is just meeting up with her own new spirit as a girl, and actually bringing that into an experience. So I really would advise, and I give also consultations and counseling a lot on that, right? Talk to your mother, find out how she grew up. You're going to learn another thing, and your relationship with your mom and your father is going to be totally different. Remember, we are now in the spirit of truth. We are in the new us, in the rebirth, in the renaissance of us as Africans. We can never be the same like we used to be. Okay, we used to be with the colonial mentality of just looking at my parents as, because she grew up in the village as a primitive woman that didn't know anything, and I used to question a lot. But knowing her from the point of consciousness, she becomes my friend. And now I even see myself older than her. And so I can feel her. I can understand her challenges. When she speaks, I hear a young voice, And so most of the time, even right here, my mom is right here with me. And I play the songs that she told me she used to listen to. And you can see a totally different human being, okay? Because her memories take her back to her young life. And so most of us in our African culture, we push our elders, our parents too young. We lay them off from us and say they're old. And so like they don't have a life. So, but I'm going to do a special lecture on that. And I hope Professor Bayyinah or some other mothers with such an experience, or you watching me, could join me on the show, and let us revamp the spirit. And I think that's what freedom is for me. I'm so free the way I look at life, the way I look at my mom. My father left us some 10 years ago, but I can still feel his spirit. But my mother was the one, because the father was such, as we know, the mothers, we were always not friendly, even though we were girls, because they were the ones that had to teach us every little thing. And the father would go out to hunt or to sort out to bring. So we usually just saw our fathers really in interfaces, and we loved them much, because the little time we would see them, they would pet us and give us everything. But because you were always with the mother, you would hear her 27/4, and always like, you have to do this, you should not do this, or if you do this, or you get slapped, or you get whooped, or you get this. And so the mother became like a competitor, became like a discipline master, and mastering. And so it was so difficult to actually know that she was a girl that enjoyed life, that had that, because she just birthed me. It's quite interesting to make such a discovery. I'll really challenge or advise each and every one of you to just think about it, and we'll be doing a teaching also on that. So I thank you so much, and we would see us again tomorrow with another beautiful lecture. I'm still looking out for the guests, and if not, we're just gonna gather here and share and have our conversations between us as usual. So I love you so much. I know you love me too, because we're one and indivisible people. We belong together. I belong to you. You belong to me. I know you cannot hate me because you're my other half. I'm your other half. I know you cannot be jealous of me because you are my other half. I'm your other half. I'm your opposite. I know you can never, even if we disagree, you will still sit down to reason with me. I know we cannot condemn our continent. We cannot condemn our people, because we have a lot of respect for all what we all have gone through as human beings, and going through all the challenges in life. So I leave you also with this mother mind spirit of saying, we need to work together, we need to love ourselves more, we need to relearn, but we can't relearn without knowing who we are. And knowing who we are, if I feel me, then I can understand you better. So I love you, and I have 1 more minute to round on the 2 hours conversation. I always watch my time. So I love you so much. So you don't cheat me, I don't cheat you. Most often you do cheat me, I do. I understand, but it's okay. So yeah. So let's just go with the spirit of understanding. This is a new era where the mother mind is actually evolving. And we have to talk, teach, model. Okay, if it means preaching. We don't want all those kind of, power structures. Us like the girls, we're so scared. We want pampering more. We don't want bagging, nagging. And we're seeing a lot of our girls and our young youth on the continent, they still actually do not understand how to treat their other part and the other part the other. So I think most of these conversations that we'll be having are really going to be smooth ones, that we're teaching ourselves how to love ourselves again. So yes, as I say, tuko pamoja. Thank you, and we see ourselves tomorrow. I have to play our song because everybody's always asking before I leave. But I want to play the anthem first. Our anthem is what unites us more, okay? So just listen. I hope it's going to show up. I don't know. If not, all right. We get to this. If it's going to play too, I don't know.
You are watching the...
Everything is just so low, they can't even upload.
You are
this.
watching
Okay.
the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
Tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Huwezi shikamano hatima yetu, tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika, chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni.